90s, I was doing what was called holy work as an interviewer of Holocaust survivors for Steven Spielberg's extraordinary project, the Shoah Foundation. Can everyone hear me all right? Today I'm going to talk to you about my experience as one of the Foundation's rescuers of history. And later, you will hear from one of those survivors, Marius Jerovici, right over that man right there, who was in Romania and Moldova during the war. Steven Spielberg has described his establishing the Shoah Foundation as the most important work of his professional life. I feel exactly the same. I've had a long career in journalism that has enabled me to meet and interview many celebrated people. But nothing I've done in my life has given me more satisfaction, more value, than working on behalf of the Shoah Foundation. Before I get into the heart of my talk, I would like to salute two people for their help in making this event happen. Catherine Fisher, Director of Membership and Programming at Congregation Road of Shalom, and Carol Sheridan, who introduced me, who is the originator of our little neighborhood group, the First Wednesday Club. It's not a coincidence that this is taking place on the first Wednesday. Carol, where are you? I'm here. Carol, I've enjoyed our cultural excursions, and today I'm happy to be able to give something back, to contribute. I also want to thank the Museum of Holocaust Awareness for providing our survivor Marius today. I want to be clear. I want to be clear that my talk today is about my own personal experience. I'm not an expert on the Holocaust, nor am I an official of the Shoah Foundation. But I was part of a well-oiled, incredibly efficient organization that attempted a task that had never before been accomplished. That task was to videotape, index, and archive eyewitness testimonies about the Holocaust, to put a human face on the genocide of a people whose only crime was being born Jewish. And this had to be done quickly because the clock was ticking. Time was running out. By the end, the Foundation taped nearly 52,000 interviews in 57 countries, 33 different languages, and is today the largest digital collection of visual history in the world. Besides survivors, we interviewed liberators, witnesses, political prisoners, members of the resistance, gypsies, Jehovah's Witnesses, and of course the children of survivors. I was born in 1940. I am a child of World War II, and at an early age, I was keenly aware of its existence. I remember the blackouts, rationing, and my uncles in uniform. My two most vivid memories of the war are of my father, who was an air raid warden, putting on his white helmet and belt and leaving our house in the black of night. I would sit in the dark on the sofa with my grandfather and wait for the all-clear siren to herald his safe return. My other remembrance of the war was the terrible fear of Japanese soldiers. I had seen a Life magazine photo of one holding the saber aloft before the as a child, many mornings I was afraid to get out of bed and look out my window because I was certain there were some Japanese soldiers goose-stepping down the wide boulevard outside my bedroom window, because at that young age I understandably had mixed up with Axis powers and mistakenly decided to use special command instead of doing it. To make matters even more frightening for me, the Japanese even looked different. And one of the ironies of war we always hear about, this past September, my youngest son married a Japanese-American girl from San Francisco. She and her family got a big laugh when they heard this story. But there is another, more serious side to this anecdote, because Leslie, a fifth-generation American, had grandparents who, along with 110,000 others of their heritage, were consigned to internment camps on the West Coast for the duration of the war. To emphasize the injustice of this black mark in our country's history, Leslie's grandfather and his brothers were serving in the United States Army at the same time their wives and children were behind barbed wires. So with that not so recent history in mind, if you all indulge me, I'd like to proudly introduce my daughter-in-law, Leslie. She's behind the column. Stand up, please. And she is indeed living proof I've been able to overcome my phobia. Those early experiences were the genesis of my lifelong fascination with World War II. And in 1994, when I watched Steven Spielberg accept the Academy Award for his iconic film, Schindler's List, and watched while he explained his life-altering experience filming it, and his concept for what was to become the Shoah Foundation, I knew I had to be part of it. I immediately wrote to the foundation headquarters in Los Angeles and told them of my desire to participate, and soon received a reply that they would contact me once a Philadelphia office was established. I'd nearly given up hope when a year later, an application finally